got exactly the same position as John Howard and Mark Vaile had at the 2007 election, as Malcolm Turnbull had, as Margaret Thatcher had, as every living Liberal leader has expressed a view in support of, and that is, hang on, let me finish, and that is letting the market engage and framing a market to allow for the private sector to do the heavy lifting. It is the lowest cost, lowest risk response to the very real science before us. So the fact that I'm being consistent, I think, is something that should be something that is supported rather than questioned, and the fact that I'm being effective in delivering it is, I think, something that should be supported rather than questioned. There's been plenty of politicians before me. Peter Costello in 2001 first brought an emissions trading scheme to the Liberal cabinet and didn't get it up. But that's where we started to see it. 2006, John Howard publicly took the position to the ballot box. My position is no different to theirs. And you know whose side it is on really, regardless of politics? It's on the side of the expert advice. Most of you, I hope, got a letter in the mail today about the process of thinking. Don't worry about the policy. Think about the process that I'm faced with. The science community, the chief scientists of Australia, CSIRO, who we have trusted for 70 years on most issues, are saying we've got a problem. Yeah, now I'm going to hang on. We've got 2 out. We've got 2 out. I'll have to get the microphone. Yeah. In my view, the science advice should be listened to, including the chief scientists. Then we look for the response. And the best economic advice we can find is saying an emissions trading scheme is the lowest cost, lowest risk response. All, therefore, I am doing is implementing. And I think that is my obligation to you. That is making sure I'm being true, being honest, being consistent, rather than just being populist and pretending because it's a comfortable position to say one thing today and another thing tomorrow. Regardless of what happens with, the views, and we've had this conversation at the QE meeting, if, a particular issue comes and goes and people flare up, my job in a representative democracy is to do the reading, to do the homework, to attend the meetings, to attend the committees, to participate in the multi-party climate change committee. I've done that, and then I've drawn some conclusions on behalf of all of us. I don't win anything out of this. I've drawn conclusions on behalf of 90,000 people that I think is right for the Mid-North Coast and right for Australia. So that's all I've done, nothing more, nothing less, and I'll certainly stand by the decision.
The vast majority of us are against it. Yeah, hang on. If we can, hang on. I'll do it, Tony Jones, rather than treat that as a statement, I'll treat it as a question, because it goes back to an earlier point about should we have a referendum. In Australia, we vote pretty regularly, every 3 years. Normally the argument is we should have longer terms of government so we can actually have governments who do make hard decisions rather than just chasing the next ballot box. Hang on, guys, if this is going to be 2 hours, we've got to have some sensible rules. By all means, put your hands up and ask a question. Normally, it's an argument that we should have longer terms of government. If we are going to, as what seems to be the argument at the moment, have issue by issue calls for a referendum, we are actually arguing the case for a different form of democracy. That is citizens-initiated referenda. And that is the case you're arguing. If you want issue-by-issue referendums, I don't support that. I think the position that we've got, where you elect 150 people from communities around Australia, you send them all down there to look at the issues of the day, they work through those issues and they draw some conclusions as a majority, is a pretty good form of government. Particularly when we've got an election every 3 years. You've got the power of the ballot box. In regards to pricing carbon, 2007, Kevin Rudd and John Howard had a position on pricing carbon, saying an emissions trading scheme. I reckon that a lot of people in this room, well, would have voted for one or the other. In 2008, I had the same view at the by-election. I would hope a few people in this room voted for me. In 2010, who did we have? Both sides did have the view. Tony Abbott came along, argued a different case on the back of 2009, and suddenly the politics starts to go walkabout again. Gillard went walkabout with the change of government, then Abbott went walkabout. But essentially, the expert advice from the science community has stayed consistent, and so have I.
Right, now... As for your carbon tax...
And we'll make this the question, and then we'll go to some others, and then come back if you've got some more. Because I recognise you probably should declare, are you the president of the Cooey Group?
No, I'm on the committee there. I'm part of that and on the farm. But as for John Howard, the carbon tax,